Let's go!
Time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
Everybody, TGIF Friday, we made it to get you to the weekend and Super Bowl weekend of the Patrick Johnson Show. Nice to have you along, Philip the Rep Pilkington, the patriot that he is, not New England patriot, but just the patriotic American with his USA hockey sweater, it looks like.
Olympics starting, they started a couple days ago, but the opening ceremonies are today.
Yeah,
you gotta rep the USA, baby. Mike Eruzione, captain of the 1980 USA hockey team. Let's go.
I love it. We got Pirate basketball tomorrow, and you're with us from the vast video audience. We've just learned here on the Patrick Johnson Show that WITN and NBC will be airing not only the Olympics, but the Super Bowl. Here to talk to us about it and more, we welcome to the Patrick Johnson Show, I believe a maiden voyage for WITN sports anchor Dugan Lloyd. Dugan, how are you, buddy?
Patrick, I'm doing well. I appreciate you guys having me on. My wardrobe's not up to standard with the gray hoodie, but I'm ready to go.
You're staying warm, and that's the key during these hard. Of course, this is nothing like where you grew up. All right, Pilk, I met Dugan when he first came here, and he always seemed like a very nice young man. And I've watched some of his sportscasts that they put out there, and that he does, because he does some great viral stuff with it for WITN. And I've enjoyed those. The Thanksgiving pizza is a favorite. I thought that was one of the funniest things I've seen done locally in a while. And then I learned this, and it's a secret family recipe. And, so we were talking here before we went on. You grew up in the New England area, but you were not a Patriots fan. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe he's a Giants fan or a Jets fan, or maybe he's an Eagles fan. No. You are a Cowboys fan. So you really are a bit of a long-suffering fan at this point. How does this feel this weekend, going into this, and another year where the Cowboys are home?
Well, for starters, I've never seen them anywhere else, so I'm pretty used to that part. But the rest of the picture, I came into the New England scene at the worst possible time, born beginning of the century, right when the Patriots run starts. So if you're raised a Cowboys fan, like I was, you pick it up, you have high expectations. That doesn't go well, but then you see everyone else. You show up to the AFC Championship game. They put on their Gronk jerseys, their Edelman jerseys, their Brady jerseys, and it's just like year after year after year. So that was just kind of my upbringing. So I can't stand the Patriots. I'm not exactly a Seahawks fan in this one, but the past years of watching the Patriots and the Patriots and the Patriots, and just kind of how I have a lot of good friends that are Patriot fans, and they get a little spoiled and entitled when it comes to football, is all I'll say.
I think that's the case. By the way, we're going to have some of your colleagues, your brethren in the local sports broadcast scene later in the show with Zach Kaplan, a long-suffering Patriots fan. I mean, they've gone all of, a few years without a Super Bowl win.
Give me a break.
And then representing the Seahawks, Schwartz on Sports, Luke Schwartz from Channel 12. So we're going to he's and again, it's not like Seattle hasn't tasted the sweet nectar of postseason victory. I mean, they've been pretty darn good. So they'll represent that. You, on the other hand, have picked a. I get the impression, Dugan, that you picked like the flashiest girl at the dance, and you realize she has no personality. That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm saying here. That's what you've done as a Cowboys fan, in a sense.
Well, in theory, yes, but I think the fact that I was raised on it wasn't exactly a choice. This wasn't a marriage I had much of a say in. This is kind of I was 5 years old and you're a Cowboys fan. So I came into it and I did my job. I didn't know any better at the time. On paper, when I started rooting for the team, they were tied for the most Super Bowls of any organization out there, and on paper they were ran well with air quotes, but that clearly hasn't come to be. And as you mentioned, Patriots, Seahawks, it's certain organizations know how to win, and certain organizations know how to be in the headlines.
So
I picked the wrong one.
You said you were born around 2000, so I guess your first couple of years was what, Bledsoe? When you said you became a fan at 5, do you remember Bledsoe before Romo? Is that what it was? Quincy Carter, baby?
So I was born in 01. My first memories are really Romo, because I'd say 5 or 6 years old is right where I started paying attention, which obviously right beginning of Romo there. So like I know all the old names, and the first thing I think of with Bledsoe is just going back and looking at the history of that first Patriot season, Brady taking over for him, and we all know where that went. But Tom Brady, by the way, who knows where he stands in this game? Is he a Seahawks fan this weekend?
So he has come out and said, so there's actually he's catching a lot of flack from the New England fan base of players. He said that he doesn't have a dog in the fight, which when you're the owner of a team who's not playing, you have to go out and say that. And they are, and the New England people are treating him like, chopped liver.
Benedict Arnold.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to say he doesn't have a dog. If he didn't own the Raiders, okay, cool, be a Pats fan. But yeah.
I'm just
Here's what he also
in New England. It's great. They don't have to fight about stuff very often. Patrick mentioned it too. They go a couple of years without making the playoffs. It's like, oh, poor Patriots. I enjoyed that time. I'm not exactly thrilled that they've got a generational quarterback, coach, and front office. So we'll see.
I think I'm picking up on something here, Dugan. And Pilk especially. I think Dugan is more of a Patriots hater, so I think by default he's going to be rooting for the Seahawks this weekend. I mean, that's
what it sounded like. Yeah,
that's what it sounded like to me. All right, Dugan Lloyd, WITN 7. Of course, NBC is airing the Super Bowl this year. They're back in the rotation, as it were. And, this is really interesting because we like to give the Super Bowl a boost. It needs help from our show to boost the ratings, so we're out here letting the people know that it's gonna be on. But then you have the Olympics. So I'm curious from just kind of a logistics standpoint how all of this plays out, for you in your coverage this weekend of everything you're going to do, on Friday night with the opening of the Olympics, and then that's on all the time. And I know now those games are played out too on a lot of other platforms, but NBC's so vested that they'll show many, many hours. How does that affect, what you do?
So with our shows, obviously, there's a lot of shows throughout the day. Those early shows, those for the weeks of the Olympics go away, which usually aren't shows that there's a ton of sports content in. It might be stuff that was being pulled from, the night before or something like that. So those, for the most part, will go away. While the Olympics are going on, we'll report on big events. But as far as the video itself, we're supposed to use still images. We're supposed to use full screens, not exactly the video itself, which makes it a little bit trickier to cover. But obviously, like all the big stuff, I see the USA hockey sweater on Phil right now. All that sort of thing. We'll do our best to cover it from that lens. But even with the, part of the NBC family excited to watch it there. But the highlights itself, just with the rules, depending on the year, it gets a little bit trickier to cover. Whereas we'll still have all the results and all the big stuff going on. But a lot of that will come from, AP photos and stuff along those lines.
Yeah.
PJ.
So with the Super Bowl, hang on, Pilk. With the Super Bowl, where do you watch that tonight? How does that, or Sunday night? How does that, are you just...
Super Bowl, I'm actually excited. So this week, for local coverage, we're going back years. I think it was 59 years ago. I put together this piece. I'm excited. I just finished it up last night. It's going to run after the Super Bowl. It's about a little over 4 minutes, which is more time than usually I'll have on one of those things. But it's a story about a story in a way. There's this guy named Tim Stevens who is putting together a documentary on, it was 1967, 1968, and 1969 when Fike went back to back in the state championship. And so this week I was out there talking to a couple old players and as well as Tim himself just about that documentary, and I liked it a lot. So I'm excited to run that after the game and take a trip into the past. A mini doc about a doc is how I like to think about it.
Very cool. Very cool. Those are some I think those are the Carlester Crumpler teams, if I'm not mistaken.
They were.
Yeah.
I
Very
know.
cool.
I was looking through some old video, and it's so funny just to see how the game's changed, how even filming the game has changed, and the format's different. Everything is in black and white. It's in a not square, but just the aspect ratio is a little bit different, as well as just the way the game was played. It was run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, punt the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, punt the ball, and then every once in a while you might run a trick play, halfback pass, and you score a 70-yarder or something. But just the stylistic, it's still the same game, but it's just funny how much it's evolved from the 60s and play calling and scheme and everything along those lines.
No, it will be very interesting. The one thing I was going to say, PJ, earlier is, Dugan might like an NFL team from Texas, which he's from the North because he used the correct term. He called it a sweater and not a jersey. Hockey players don't wear jerseys. They wear sweaters. So he is from up north, and he proved it with that.
Dugan Lloyd, WITN 7 Sports. Dugan, give us the shows you're on typically, because I know you're kind of to your credit, you're the sports department, so you're doing a lot of hustling and bustling. So when are the shows that you're on? And again, I love these packages that you put together, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the one that you did on the Fike team. I think that'll be very cool.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely anytime you get to go a little bit longer, it's always fun. The usual shows I'm on 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. And it'll depend on the sports week. It shifts a little bit week to week. Usually that's primarily throughout the week. And then, if there's a big Saturday, then it'll be Saturday. It changes every week. So it's never the same days every single week. But there are recurring shows like the Pepsi Spotlight every Tuesday at 6 p.m. We've got that. In football season, we've got the End Zone, obviously, which will run at 11. So there are recurring shows, and depending on the time of year, like when we get into baseball, obviously the show is going to line up pretty closely with whatever ECU baseball is doing, and the football season, same with high school and college football. So it shifts from year to year. Every Sunday I'll sit down and say, look at all the schedules, what do I want to cover, and from there try to make the best of the week.
So speaking of the End Zone on Friday nights, one of the guys that's helping you out started here with us as an intern. Our guy Cookie, he's actually doing pretty good. There's the laugh. And does he still do the laugh? And second, are you impressed with his high school football coverage? Because he's been one of the kind of your lead guys that helps you out there with high school, right?
Yeah, Chris was huge when I first got here. So I didn't get here. I've been here 2 full high school football seasons. Chris was huge for me when I first got here. He had worked on the show the year before, but he anchored the show week 1 of not this year, but the year before. And so when I come in, I looked up some stuff online, but I didn't know most of the teams. I didn't know how the show ran. So he was huge right off the get-go, and it's been awesome just having him. This year, it took a step up, too. We're doing live streams, game of the week stuff, where last year he was still doing a package, putting together 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes of recap from the games. This year, he was still doing that, but he's also doing in-game interviews. He's doing pre-game interviews. At halftime, he's doing live hits back to the station. So his Friday night is as busy as anyone's around here, but he's been awesome. And as for the laugh, every once in a while, I'll say, because we work a little bit different schedules, so I don't get to hear it as much. So I'm appreciating this, but no, I have heard it, and if we get him going, we'll hear it.
Cookie's a big TV star now. He's forgotten all about us. Dugan Lloyd is with us here. Now, I'm going to admit something. I did not know this until maybe 2 or 3 months ago. It seems like late summer or the fall. And I don't want to embarrass you because, I obviously it's interesting to me but I know you don't want to necessarily be known as this, but your dad is a pretty renowned guy for sports fans and is on ESPN. And now that I know that is your dad, I can see some of the similarities, in what you guys, the personality. I mean, it's very, very similar. So, how is that for you? I mean, do you draw some kind of bounce things off of him, that sort of thing, or how does that sort of play out for you?
Yeah, I say in my household, both my parents enjoy watching this stuff. I think my mom's still definitely the number one fan of the show, but
sure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll ever change, but no, it is a great resource to have someone to talk to who's, it was years ago when he was, let's see, he started, I'll just do the quick history. He started in Savannah, spent a couple of years in Charleston, Sacramento, San Diego. So he saw some different parts of the country back in the 80s and 90s, back in that time frame. So we like talking about just kind of how stuff is, a lot of stuff's the same and a lot of stuff's very different. But no, it is super helpful to be able to send stuff. And the further you go through it, and like even he'll say this, the more, at least the more reps I've seen, like the more, it's more in hindsight, kind of talking about things in the past, where it's like I'm not like going into a day being like, well, what do you think I should do? Or maybe like my first job in Wheeling, West Virginia, which was my previous stop, like that would have been my approach. So I'd say it's been, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't even think about that when I finish up a show, like the next day I might get a couple of texts or questions about different stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should have done that, or maybe I could have, asked this or included that. So I enjoy it, but growing up, I don't know,
just dad.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was just dad, and even in my town, like it wasn't like it was just to my friends it was Mr. Lloyd, and to maybe they tease me about it or like make jokes here and there, but. Yeah, it was always it was rare, but it was a fun trip if I got to follow him to work and just try to be quiet in the corner while I don't know, Herm Edwards walks past or something like that.
Right, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's David Lloyd, who's Dugan's dad, who's been on SportsCenter for many, many, many years. Very cool. Did he discourage you? Did he want you to go do something productive with your life? Like all parents, when you get into media, they're like, go do something productive. I mean, every time my dad, are you sure you want to do this type of, I mean, what did he, how did that go?
He certainly warned me about some of the, not sacrifice, but just some of the, included hours and, being from Connecticut, he said, you're probably not going to be able to stay in the Northeast. You're going to move around. But I think, honestly, it was more encouragement. It wasn't like he pushed me one way or another. In college, I had no idea. I went to Penn State, didn't know what I wanted to do. I was between, I think I said business because everyone said business going in as like a potential. It was either that or communications. And I tried a couple of different things. And obviously knowing that I'd be able to get some good feedback and maybe some advice helped, but I don't exactly like. He didn't really push me one way or other, which I appreciated. And naturally, I just kind of felt myself pulled towards TV and sports. Well, I've always been pulled towards sports, but the TV side of it.
Yeah. Is your mom? What does she do?
She hates sports. She likes when I played sports. Like she'd watch those games.
Right.
She's a teacher, and sometimes she just shakes her head if she hears us yelling at the TV or screaming at a ping pong match. Or I think in my lifetime she's maybe watched 45 minutes of football with us. So
that's
I
crazy.
think the Bruce Springsteen halftime in like 2009 was the one Super Bowl she
That
watched.
was it for her. Yeah, that was it for her. I got you. Awesome. Dugan, you do great work, man. I'm just not saying that. I enjoy the stuff you put out. Keep putting out the viral video. I don't know if I'll get to see because of where I'll be watching the game here in Surf City. I don't know if I'll get to see your the package you're talking about, but I hope you'll post it online because I would love to watch that. Yeah, very much. What are the socials? Where can people find you as far as that goes?
Yeah, no. So on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it, it's Dugan Lloyd _ DUGANLLOYD _ Sounds like I'm leaving a voicemail right now, but I know Dugan Lloyd's still a tough name for everyone out there. So on Twitter there, Instagram, Dugan Lloyd TV, and those are really the primaries, as well as WIPN.com sports department. The sports page should have all of our most recent content and whatnot.
We know you're
that package.
I can't wait to see. That's fantastic. We know you love cooking. We know you love Pilk. Out of these two that we're going to have on in a minute, if Luke Schwartz can figure out technology, he and Kaplan, is there one of the two you prefer, or are they both just equally annoying to you?
Can I say this Sunday? I'm going to guess I'm going to find Zach more annoying with this Patriots hoodie. So I'm going to.
Yes.
On Sunday, I'm leaning towards Luke, but no, I'd say on an average day we'll flip a coin.
I got
Both
you.
Good guys,
all right.
And I appreciate working with them and you guys.
Dugan, great to have you on, man. Really appreciate it. Lots of fun.
This is awesome. This is a blast. Thank you for having me.
All right, the Olympics.
Style. All right.
There you go. Pilkington's all over it. That's a good producer there for you. Yes. All right. Stay tuned. The debate on who's going to win this big game from the other guys in the market on sports. Kaplan, Schwartz. The debate next.
Remember, get the podcast of the show on the IBX Media app or where you get your podcasts.
I listen on my Apple Watch.
Smart speaker.
Listen while you work.
I listen everywhere.
The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back. That's right. The big game coming up this weekend. And we've got more of our friends from local sports media. First, the always on time, Zach Kaplan from WNCT 9 on your side, and the fashionably late Luke Schwartz. Schwartz with sports. Did I get it right, Luke? Sports with sports. Or is it Schwartz on
Schwartz?
Sports with Schwartz.
It's a tongue twister for PJ.
It is. And he, of course, is with News Channel 12, WCTI. We just had Dugan Lloyd on, and I am saying he's now my favorite because he was such a nice young man. These two, not only do they go at each other every night in the TV ratings, but this weekend they are sworn mortal enemies. Zach Kaplan, a long-suffering Patriots fan. It's been, maybe 5 years since you all won a Super Bowl. And then you have Schwartz, Luke Schwartz, who's from the Pacific Northwest and is actually a Seattle fan. And he's acting like they've never done anything. But they do have a Super Bowl here in the last, decade and a half. They've been before. I mean, what are you? You guys are spoiled. You could be Pilkington and be a Panthers fan, and your owner be a doofus. So just know that. Know that, guys. All right. Enough of my rambling on here. Let's welcome him in. Hello, Schwartz. How are you, buddy?
Hey, can't complain. Got some good sleep, but happy to be here now.
Yes. All right. And then Zach, what about you? How are you, my friend?
Well, we're on Eastern time. Schwartz is still on Pacific time, clearly. So,
I think so. Yes.
Clearly. Nice of him to join us peasants here on the show.
All right. So here's what I want to ask you guys. What is your first memory for your respective teams? I mean, what is the first thing you remember growing up as a fan of your team? Zach, what's the first Patriot memory for you growing up?
The first Super Bowl I remember in part was 38 with the Patriots and Panthers down in Houston. I remember the first half. After that halftime show, was told to go to bed. So obviously I went back and watched the game back. The first Super Bowl I really remember was Patriots Eagles down in Jacksonville, a place the NFL will never go again, for Super Bowl 39. That's my first Super Bowl that I fully remember.
Okay, all right. He's talking Super Bowls. I'm talking memories. He's like, this Super Bowl. It's like, how did this?
They all run together
with these hundreds. I know they all run together when you go to all. All right, Schwartzy, how about you, buddy? When was the first Seahawks memory of a young Luke Schwartz?
I think it was probably 2005 when Sean Alexander had his MVP season. And watching him run in the backfield, that made me want to be a running back, and so. That's what I was throughout middle school and high school for football, and I loved watching him run. He just had that style of downright right to the hole. He knew how to be shifty. He won MVP that year, and I remember we got a Wii, like a family Wii, and I got Madden Football 208, and I just played with the Seahawks and just ran the ball every time I could. I never threw it, and I love 37. 33 has always been my number, but I loved Sean Alexander and those old school jerseys.
Is this a Schwartz jersey? What does it say on the back there of your Seahawks jersey? So Schwartz, by the way, wearing a Seahawks jersey, a hoodie for Mr. Kaplan, a very sharp-looking Patriots hoodie, I might add.
Thank you.
Adams. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we can.
We saw it. Yeah, we saw it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Have you ever thought of getting like a personalized 33 where it says Schwartz on sports or something?
No, I never have. I've never been a fan of that. I'm like, hey, they worked hard to get their jersey. I'm going to pay to support the fact that you actually got there. So I'm good with wearing another player's name and just supporting the team for the guys who are actually lacing up each night.
I got you. I get the impression that obviously these were two of the bigger odds to play in a Super Bowl at the beginning of the season, I think, ever in history. So, Schwartz, I get, everybody's saying New England is here early. I get the impression this was sort of something that maybe became a little more of a building possibility as the season went on for Seattle fans, more so than the expectation when everything started with minicamp, or training camp, excuse me.
Well, we were 3-2 to start. It was I thought we were looking at a good playoff matchup against the Buccaneers when we lost at home to Tampa Bay, and Baker Mayfield was looking like the MVP candidate this year. I'm not going to lie and say when we got Sam Darnold, I thought we were getting 14 wins. I really thought that he had a fluke year with the Vikings, and I remember calling my dad and going, I don't know if I like that trade. I think he'll be fine for us, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to bring us to the playoffs like Mike McDonald would really hope for. And he certainly proved me wrong. That offenses look great underneath him, and Mike McDonald, I'm always going to be a Pete Carroll fan because that's who I grew up watching, and he's just electric on the sidelines, always goofy. Everyone called those white shoes the Pete Carroll fives in high school. But, I'm just so happy that we're here. I'm blessed to be here. I did not think we'd be in the Super Bowl if you had asked me for week 1 of the season.
Yeah. That's Luke Schwartz, WCTI 12 Sports, WNCT 9 Sports, the great Zach Kaplan here with us as well in the studio. Hey, how about you? This seems like this is a bit of an early arrival from what the plan was when Vrabel was hired, and it was going to be year 2 of Drake May.
Yeah, in the last 2 seasons, Patrick, was 4 wins each. So they've won 8 total games the previous 2 seasons coming into this. The last year with Belichick was a disaster. The 1 year with Mayo, arguably even worse. And so, coming in, I was like, he'll get them back to 9-8, and they're kind of flirting with the 7th seed. We'll see how the AFC shakes out. But no one had 13-4, Coach of the Year. Drake May taking the huge step in year 2 when he had no help in year 1. An incompetent coaching staff around him, no offensive line. So it's just been fun to see him take those steps, obviously being a North Carolina guy, just growing up just outside of Charlotte, going to play for the Tar Heels, and now leading this team into the Super Bowl, which no one saw coming. For 2 decades, it was, the season starts in the AFC Championship, and this year it was even just making the playoffs was a surprise, and now obviously winning the AFC, even more surprising.
All right, I know Pilk's got a couple remarks and questions for you, but I want to ask you something here, and then I'll let Pilk pepper you with some stuff because I'm still ailing a little bit. What, Zach, concerns you the most about Seattle?
They just don't seem to beat themselves, I think, is the biggest thing. And Darnold, everyone's kind of been waiting for it, like he's, turning into a pumpkin, whatever. It hasn't happened yet. And maybe it just doesn't happen. And I think if he doesn't turn the ball over at all, it'd be hard to find a way that the Patriots win the game. And I just think they do such a good job of not beating themselves. And it starts with him. Defensively, they kind of turn you over. And I just think, Darnold's probably, the fact that he has gone this long, playing this well all season, was probably the biggest concern.
All right, Luke Schwartz, same thing for you. What is your biggest concern? Since they're the prohibitive favorites, the Seahawks are. What is your concern about the Patriots?
I think it's the opposite of the narrative that we've heard all postseason about the Patriots. Their offense hasn't been good. They've relied on their defense to win games, and they've been tight games, haven't been high scoring, so everyone's saying the Patriots offense hasn't really shown up. I feel like the Super Bowl, it's going to, and it's going to be a high scoring match, despite how confident I am in the Seahawks defense. I feel like the Patriots actually find their rhythm in the Super Bowl on offense because, they have weapons everywhere, and Drake May could just go deep in his bag and throw for 4 touchdowns. So I'm nervous that could happen.
I got you. All right, Pilk, what you got? What you got for these two?
Kind of starting here with Luke. Everybody is saying, kind of like Zach did there, that maybe, and even you were thinking at the beginning of the season, Sam Darnold, is he really the guy? Are you guys just here because the defense and because JSN is maybe the best player in the NFL? So I think there are a lot of doubters, a lot of people saying that this game is kind of an asterisk Super Bowl regardless of who wins it. So what's your message to the doubters? And then, Zach, we got a similar question for you as you guys had a cupcake regular season.
Wow.
Wow. Go back to our only Super Bowl win, 2013, beat the Broncos 43-8. That game was dominated by the Legion of Boom on defense, and we're seeing a similar defense with the Mob, as they've nicknamed themselves this year. But Russell Wilson put them in so many games to make sure they were the number 1 seed to win, to beat San Francisco at home in thrilling fashion in the NFC Championship, and then win the Super Bowl. Without Russell Wilson, even though the defense was the main story, you're not making it to a Super Bowl. Same with Sam Darnold. The defense has been fantastic, but he has been locked in. He hasn't been seeing ghosts. His turnovers have been down. And, Jackson Smith-Njigba was great. I'm super happy he won Offensive Player of the Year in the NFL last night for the awards. But Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet carried the load in the backfield, and RIP to Zach for his knee going down, and Kenneth Walker has put the team on his back the last 2 weeks in terms of the playoffs, and he is a straight-up dog out of Michigan State, and there's just a lot of unsung heroes on this team, too, that Sam Darnold makes look good, like Jake Bobo catching his 4th reception all season last week against the Rams. You have guys like A.J. Barner on the team who shouldn't be a good player on most teams in the NFL. So Sam Darnold finds ways to highlight other guys, and so even more credit to him for saying, hey, it's not about me, it's about the team. And I think he's just a great dude, and I think everybody the reason why I believe we can win, because I'm nervous anytime we play the Patriots, because that last loss still haunts me to this day, is because it's an egoless team. I just believe these guys are confident because they're not about one, they're about all.
Before we go to Zach, I am going to defend Pete Carroll's decision. Everybody for years has said, why didn't you run the football? I do want to remind people of one thing. It was 2nd down and you had 1 timeout. You threw the ball there, and your thought was incomplete pass. We can then run it on 3rd, still call the timeout and get 4th down. But if you run it there, and then you call the timeout, and then you take a sack, you're hosed. Yeah. Or Russell doesn't have time to scramble because the clock might run out. Everybody for years has been saying Pete Carroll made the wrong decision. No. If you look at the timeouts, you look at the time, you look at the downs, he was right to throw the football.
Hand it off. Hand it off.
Hand it off the next down. No. You gave yourself 3 plays
from this terrible mistake. No, I understand what you're saying, but in the vacuum, hand it off.
You guys are looking at it from a hindsight 2020 thing. I'm looking at it from what information you had going into the play. You made the right play call. Malcolm Butler made a hell of a play. All right, Kaplan, throwing it to you here. You played 17 regular season games. 14 of your opponents either fired their head coach or their OC and their DC. The three teams that didn't were all in the NFC South. You beat the Chargers. Well, they suck in the playoffs. They haven't had a good playoff run since Stan Humphries. You beat a dome team in a cold rain, and we all know domes should be banned in football, and because dome teams are wusses and football's meant to be played outside, so Houston got what they deserved. And then you beat Jarrett Stidham in the snow. So everybody's saying you're not the real deal, but you know what? You've won 17 football games, and crappy teams don't win 17 football games, and everybody's saying it's an Astros Super Bowl if you win it. So what is your message to all the haters and all the doubters that say the Bills are the only team you played worth the damn all year?
Well, I'm trying to think of what I can say and gesture on this on the show. No, I just don't care, and I don't think anyone in New England does either. And that's the thing. It's like if they win this game, they've beaten both 1 seeds to win the Super Bowl in both conferences. They were waiting in the AFC Championship for Josh Allen, who couldn't get there. Lamar Jackson also couldn't get there. Patrick Mahomes couldn't even get in the playoffs. Lamar couldn't either. And so, like, it's not the Patriots' fault that none of the AFC's elite quarterbacks, Burrow, none of them could get there. So, they shouldn't be penalized for that, number one. And number two, would any other fan base care? Panthers fans certainly wouldn't care. I think if Broncos fans had beaten the Patriots, the fraudulent Patriots, they wouldn't have cared. So, to me, it's I'd be just as happy if they win. If they lose, I think that's certainly part of it. They certainly benefited and got there because of that schedule. But I'm not going to feel any differently about the season just because of who they've played, because they were sitting there in the AFC Championship ready to play anybody. And the Bo Nix injury, I guess it happened at the perfect time in the game. If it happens any earlier, Josh Allen and the Bills probably win it, and they do go to Foxborough. And I don't think this narrative would pervade into Super Bowl week, but I don't care, and I don't think any other fan base would either if they won a Super Bowl, especially Panthers fans here locally.
All right, the great Zach Kaplan, the great Luke Schwartz with us here. Schwartz, a Seahawks fan, Kaplan, a loudmouth New England fan. All right, let me ask you this, Zach. Were you more nervous for the AFC Championship game than you are the Super Bowl, or do you view this as okay? We made it. We're ahead of schedule. This could be the beginning of something, or are you just as nervous, if not more so, for the Super Bowl?
No, I was absolutely more nervous for the AFC Championship. They were going into that game playing a backup quarterback to. In Pilk's credit, I will say that, but they're going in with house money in this game. It's the first time, and some people are debating this because Seattle closed a 1-point favorite for Super Bowl 49, but I really consider it the first time they played in a Super Bowl as underdogs since 2001. Yeah. And they were a 14-point dog to the Rams, pulled off at the time the greatest point spread upset in a Super Bowl until the Giants a few years later. And they are playing with house money. The underdog is covered in 5 straight Super Bowls where the line has been 4 or more. So I got that going for them as well in terms of recent history. And I just, I think they're playing with house money.
Yeah, the Colts were bigger favorites against the Jets in Super Bowl III, I think. I think that closed at 18. So.
All right, but who was making the lines in 68?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing out facts there. I'm just
leave it to Pilk to go back and look up something from when the mob ran.
I didn't look it up. I just know the damn
dig it up.
stats.
Yeah, all right, Schwartz. How about you? Were you more? The Seahawks they've just been so dominant, even though that game was a little more back and forth. But the Rams were playing great on offense, and Stafford might have had the best year of his career in many ways, and they were so hot coming in. So, were you more nervous for the NFC Championship than the Super Bowl?
Oh, absolutely. There's history between the Patriots and the Seahawks now that 2015 happened. But yeah. If you're a Seahawks fan, you hate the Rams, you hate the Niners, you dislike the Cardinals, but who cares? We beat them every year, no worries. But the Rams are always the team that give you trouble. So I was so nervous. I'm like, gosh, we beat them the last time, and we beat them in a way that was, everyone's going, you're not going to be able to pull off a comeback like that. Win in overtime, 2-point conversion, no way. Sean McVay is a brilliant head coach. I can't stand him, but he's so good at what he does. So I was definitely more nervous for that game than I am the Super Bowl. I will say I want to get rid of that 2015 feeling. It's happened. I can't change history, but at least it could kind of slide that one out of the way. But here's what I will say. Even though we should be quote-unquote duking Zach and I, he's my boy. I love Zach. I will say I didn't like the Patriots because Bill Belichick has his cheating ways. It's proven. Tom Brady later with his Deflategate and making out with his children. I just didn't like the Patriots. I don't think anyone did unless you were a Patriots fan at the time. So it hurt even more to lose in that faction and to that Patriots team. But I like Mike Vrabel. I really like Drake May. He's a good kid. This is a team full of guys who were kind of left off. Like Stephon Diggs finally made it. Pop Douglas is a guy from Liberty, out of Lynchburg. Like, there's a lot of good guys on this team that I'm like, you know what? I want to win more than anything, but just say we lose. I don't think I'll be hurting as bad as the first time because I like who's on the other side. They've rebranded Patriots football.
They have. You know what, Schwartz, I take it back. You were wrong to throw the football because you're right. The Patriots were probably taping your practices, and they knew what route was coming the same way they were taping ours back in Super Bowl 38.
The balls were properly inflated for that one. We know that.
Yeah, they were. Right. Not 2 weeks before.
All right. Well, we're running out of time here. You guys obviously have to work a lot of weekends. So don't name where you're going to be, Zach, because they're not a sponsor on our station. So, but Zach, where do you plan to watch?
Just we'll say a local establishment.
Yes. A local establishment. Now, is there a reason behind this?
It's a superstition thing for me. I watched the previous 2 playoff games, many regular season games, so you got to dance with the one that brought you.
Okay. Will you leave if it's 28-3?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm out.
Okay.
See ya.
All right. Trailing, 28-3. Trailing 28-3.
Yeah, if they're up 28-3, I'll be there.
All right. Yeah. All right. Schwartz, don't name any things because they're probably not sponsors, but give us what you plan to do if you're going somewhere. How do you approach Super Sunday as a fan?
You know,
where you watch it?
I watch it at the station because most of the people that are there at my station don't have a dog in the fight, so it's nice to not hear cheers on each side. I just order in pizza. I mean, last year it was Chiefs Eagles. I didn't care who won anyways, but this year I'll be locked in, and then it'll keep me like kind of distracted. You know, they say like, distract yourself with work. I'll be clipping highlights, putting together the highlights so that way when we go on later, I have the game ready to go for broadcast, and then I'm not thinking about the outside noise or the people cheering. I can just be like, all right, work and go Seahawks. Work and go Seahawks.
Pizza. All right.
I'm not working Sunday.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
No.
Prediction. Schwartz, prediction, really quick here. Give me a score. Winner and score. Schwartz.
27-21 Seahawks.
Okay. Kaplan.
I got similar 27-23 Patriots. Get it done. Drake, my MVP.
Hey, Schwartz, great of you to be on with us. Really appreciate it. Know you've done a lot of news work this week, too, so thanks for being on. And Kaplan, thanks for spending all day with us, because that's how long you've been here.
It's my pleasure.
See you both.
Absolutely.
I love you guys. You guys are two of the best. Great young guys. Really like you both a lot. Thank you for being on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Sorry for sleeping in.
It happens. I don't know what that is. I hope to find out tomorrow. All right. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show for the week, get you set for next week on The Patrick Johnson Show.
And now, the stunning conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
All right. Great man, the ref. What a fun show today. Here's what I will say, and I'm not saying this in any sort of flippant way or dismissive way. We had three young guys who are in the TV business. And I'm probably double their age, even though I don't look like it. Clean living and perseverance. But you have Kaplan, Luke, and Dugan, and I really do believe this. They're all three really talented guys in their vocation, and I think you will see them in other places doing this down the road. I really do believe that.
Yeah, I think so.
Them doing other things in sports media. I really do believe that you'll see that.
I think you'll be seeing them do similar things, just in media markets with a little smaller number than 101 next to their name.
Sure. Yeah. No. Exactly.
Yeah.
These guys are all and they're talented. It's not like they're. Some people get in this and you're like, I don't know. This is probably about as good as it's going to get for them. And those three are not in that category. But they were such a delight to have on. And I know Zach is. I don't think we mentioned this, but tonight they're going to be airing something with the Patriots defensive coordinator who has ECU ties. So Zach's done a package for that, apparently, that airs tonight on the 6 o'clock sports on Channel 9. So we hope everybody will check that out. Pirate basketball tomorrow, and this is going to be a noon tip against Temple. We'll have the game for you here on 94.3, the game with coverage beginning at 11:30.
Jim Zoki on the call. Calling in the spot starter, yeah.
Okay, so that'll be going on tomorrow, and it will be I forgot what I was going to. You threw me off when you told me that, Pilk. What was it? Mike Schwartz is offering up $10,000 to the first 500 students in Sup Dogs gift cards. How great is that?
There you go, $20 Sup Dogs gift card. That'll get you probably one Sup Crush and a meal.
I think the students should show up in full. There's no snow on the ground. It'll be a little chilly, but it's February. Come on.
Yeah.
Students need to show up, Pilk, tomorrow.
For sure.
And credit to Brett at Sup Dogs for stepping up and doing this as well.
For sure.
All right. Who you got, Pilk? Who you got Super Sunday?
I've been leaning Seahawks the whole time, and all the pressure, I think, is now on them to do it. I don't think they're up to the task. Give me 24-21, New England.
I'm actually going Seattle 34-21. I think it's that kind of deal. Seattle's looked great. They really have. I just hope it's a close game and there's no idiot calls late.
Yeah.
All right. Unless we have the blizzard of the century this weekend, who knows? We'll be at Tiebreakers at 5 o'clock on Monday, and I'll look forward to seeing you there. And then the return of Inside Pirate Athletics. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy all the big games, and we'll break it all down for you on the Monday PJ Show.